His name is from Northwest Europe. So he is the product owner for that particular project where you will be working. So he wants to meet you personally once. So that's why.
So again, there will be a technical round of interview.
No, I don't think he will ask you technical questions, but he might ask us. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good afternoon.
It's good
Yeah.
afternoon there.
Good. It's good morning in there, right?
Yeah, it's
Still
Correct,
morning.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So good morning. So hi, this is we have had a call with her before. Varun and Suhas has been part of her interview process in terms of the technical round, and me and Jyotish has also met her to for some technical and some functional round. So we booked an introduction call with you, and then post that maybe we can internally discuss and we can proceed further.
Thank you so much for scheduling this meeting, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you here. Same here, friends. How are you?
I'm very good, and I overheard, I think a bit, and I will not ask you any technical questions. I'm not a technical person. I asked Pragna actually to meet us here just for me to meet you and have let's say this final round just to see to see you and meet you, let's say, on a more personal level.
Okay.
And also for you also to ask any questions from my side on what you see also in the project. So I don't know if there is already a structure on this meeting, but maybe probably, I don't know what you think, but maybe I can also introduce myself a bit on what I work
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe I might ask you a few questions.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you can introduce, and then we'll start with an introduction on what she is working on, and also some bit of her project experience, and then some questions, and we can wind up.
That's perfect. That sounds like a really good plan. So very pleased to meet you. I'm Francesco. I'm originally from Italy, but I actually live in Copenhagen now. I'm based in the Northwest Europe office of Novo Nordisk. I joined Novo Nordisk a bit more than 1 year ago as the BI lead for the Northwest Europe region. At the moment, I'm taking a short-term assignment, so I've been moved for a short amount of period into the role of product owner for the customer data platform Northwest Europe team. I will give you a bit of introduction on what is what is CDP. I think you might have heard it already, but I will give you from my side, let's say, what I see as a CDP, how we handle in the region, and what I see also, what I do, let's say, on a regular basis. So we are positioned, from my perspective, let's say, into the regional setting. So we are in the commercial department, basically, of Novo Nordisk, which handles all the regions. Let's say the commercial and operations part of Novo Nordisk for all the regions. Specifically, I sit into the Northwest Europe, so we handle basically all the Northwest Europe countries, and we serve 15 different affiliates or countries in the North European area. We have quite some big countries with a big market share of Novo Nordisk in Europe, and we have very multiple stakeholders, and these countries have been working very heavily with data, and they need a lot of data to perform their own operations. I've been hired last year to handle, let's say, the BI, the front end basically of CDP, which means that, of course, I'm an expert in Power BI, and my intention was, of course, to build reports on top of this new customer data platform. Historically, we have served data, especially commercial data, to our affiliates in the region using a data lake Victoria, which was built on AWS. And then on top of Victoria, we were building reports in ClickSense. Now the decision last year or 1 year and a half ago has been made to move into a new, basically, data platform, which is called common data platform, which is based on AWS and then in Snowflake for the warehousing part. And then it has been decided that let's say the front end tool will be Power BI. And that is where the journey started, let's say, where we, let's say, have, I wouldn't call it really a migration project, but it's more like identify a new data platform for the commercial area, and especially to create synergies across all the regions. We leverage a lot of data sources that are Europe, specific to every region. So if you think about our CRM system, iEngage, is very specific to the Northwest Europe region, and every other region have their own complexity and structure of their CRM system to accommodate the local requirements. And this goes for the CRM system, and goes also for many other sources that we leverage in our warehouses. And that has led to some uncertainty in the past, because the way that you build the logic or you model the data based on your local needs, it might not be very well be the same as you do in other regions. Bringing that the challenge every time that we have a project, cross-regional project, that is very challenging to actually bring data together or create a common logic for reporting. And it is where the CDP comes from. We have regional teams, again, working on the CDP, both as data modelers and data engineers. But we also work, let's say, cross-regionally on defining the same model. This is the first part that has been started, and we deliver the first reports, and we are working on the main data products. Now, this has been also the ask from our affiliates to leverage the same infrastructure and the same environment to work on more local products. And then this is where we see the need of a new position as data modeler to support our affiliates to build basically local data pipelines and new local reporting solutions in the same environment, but specific for their local needs. So this is a nutshell, very quickly, a long discussion. Basically, here is where I'm supporting basically mostly in the operation part, making sure that the team is striving towards, let's say, the business objectives, and trying to bridge the, let's say, the connection between the development team, the operations team, and our business colleagues, basically.
Okay. Uh, so nice to hear that. So yeah, so you know my name as, and I do have total 7 years experience, 5.8 years experience into Power BI. So I have worked into the multiple domain like sales, insurance, banking, HR, and my last project was into medical domain. So I'm highly skilled using Power BI for data visualization and analysis that include the creating interactive report and dashboard, and it like we can connect to various data sources to including data SQL database, and implementing complex data transformation and calculation like text. And for the SQL part, I have a deep understanding about the SQL, including complex query optimization technique and database designing principles. And I'm proficient in writing advanced SQL queries for or to extract data manipulation or equipment.
That's great. Thank you so much for the introduction. Uh, So should I start maybe with a few questions from my side, just very briefly? Yes.
Sure.
And then I will leave most of the time also for you to ask any question. Actually, if you have any questions for me also on what you're expecting
Sure.
on this position. So from my side, I would like to ask you: have you ever? I can imagine that working on the BI side, you had to handle a lot of stakeholders. And how is your usual process, let's say, to collect the requirements from the stakeholders and from the business, and how is the way that you try to communicate, challenges or development that you're doing on the Power BI side?
Into the Power BI side, the most not the challenging side is to just to understand the data. So what their and what is the end user requirement is. To you have to understand that getting the data is the most challenging. Like which source they are sharing the data. So the process was to we just sit with the stakeholders, we understand what is their requirement, they show us to data, so they just tell us about this is our project, this is our business requirement, and this is what we do. And if they have particular entity, so they tell us about this is particular entity, it is for that we need these particular requirement. If they have different department, so they'll brief us about, so this is the department we have, for that you have to make this is the department we have, so you have to make this. So after getting the requirement, they share the data from the different sources, maybe the SQL data source as well. So we have to understand that data first, we have to optimize that data, and then do the query folding and the changes in the data manipulation according to our requirement or the stakeholder requirement. So how we can pull out the data, required data from the data source. So from the get data, we pull out the data from the data source file, whatever it is, whether it is Excel, Azure or SQL. So we get the data from there, and into, if we need to require to do any transformation into the Power Query, we do that transformation on the changes, if there is any duplicate value, null value, or a primary key identification and all. So that we do, all the cleaning part we do, if it is required into if it is required into the Power Query, that data cleaning part we do. We have to identify the data, whether the data what we are using, that is correct or not. So data validation we do. After that, we create the data modeling into the data modeling part, where we can create the relationship between the table from the primary key or the foreign key. It can be many to many or one to many relation. It can be one to many or many to many relationship. So if we don't use many to many relationship, because it create redundancy in the data, so we create a rest table there. So one to many relationship is mostly there, and I have mostly used star schema there to create the relationship. No, like it if we can use the snowflake schema as well, but the scene is, it will create a complexity in the data. So mostly if we want to work, we mostly will use the star schema there. It is very useful. So where the fact table created connected with the dimension table, dimension tables there. After data modeling part, according to the requirement, we create the chart. If we want to show the category wise data, so we can show it with the bar chart or the pie chart. If we have the timeline, so we'll show it with the with the line chart or the trend chart. According to that, according to the user requirement, we can use a chart there. If they have country wise or region wise the data, so we have to, if they want to see the data there into the uh, a map, if they want to see it on the map, so we'll use a map to show the data there into the map also. If they want to see the top n value, below top n value, so according to their requirement, we do the changes. And a sample dashboard or the visualization, we should show it to the stakeholder. If they are good to go, then we can publish the data, and then we can publish our report into the Power BI services, and show it to the, that can, and share the link with the everyone, so they can see in their desktop as well. So this is a procedure we what we can follow.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I guess, especially in the first part, I know that probably 60-70% of the time usually goes into getting the right data, the requirement,
Yeah.
and the processing and modeling the data. I think that usually takes most of the time. And are you used to keep any documentation on, what kind of transformations you have done, and what kind of modeling? And usually, how do you document and keep track of the changes that you model?
Into the Jira file, we'll do the all the documentation there, what the task we are doing, what is the pending, everything we document it in Jira. And in our Word file also, separately we create the BRD report there. We, all the documentation is there, where you can from where, what is the data source, what are the table we are using, what the changes we have done, what are the data manipulation we have done. So everything we documented there. So if the new person will coming, and so that all they also can access that data and see the report. So what steps we have followed, so they'll not stuck somewhere, and if they will get stuck somewhere, they can reference that data or the documentation, so they can follow the further steps.
That's great. And then I
Yeah.
have my last question. Um, what are you expecting from this position, and what would you like to have, let's say, this position for you to strive and to be, let's say, happy and satisfied with the work that you're doing?
If my team is engaging, and if I get a more work to do, like, because I obviously you have to learn if you are into this field, so learning is important. So if I get the chance to learn more things into that, to learning new technologies there, so that would be very good for me to, for my future as well, and the company as well, for the future requirements. So the learning part is very important for me, where I can learn most of the things there.
So learning, do you only consider it is about technical skills, or do you consider business skills also as a learning? Because what you will learn here mostly is technology. You already have skills, you definitely will enhance it based on the requirements that we have, and you can use your experience to leverage those things. But definitely one thing is about the business, because it's a, we are leading pharma organization into diabetes and obesity. So definitely our business requirement to specific countries and regions are very very different from other experience that you have. So to master that, you will be learning more about the business skills. So would that help you in any way?
Yeah, definitely. Into the Power BI is most of the time you are into presentation. You have made the visualization there, but you have to present that also. What the visualization you have made, what you have created, the end user will not understand unless you will not explain that. So that is the communication skill, presentation skills, and the interaction. What you do with the end user, that is most important. What I can learn from your company. So that is, if we have multiple skills, and I can learn from you guys, that is more important from me, like for me.
Okay,
That's
nice to hear.
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have anything else from my side. Thank you so much. But if you have any questions for me, anything that you want to clarify or ask, this is the right time.
Yeah, so my mostly part into the SQL side. Yeah, I initially, so I could have understood. I do have the JD. So yeah, that was only my questions. So no further questions from your side. Like, what will be my scope to grow in this company? That would also the question for me.
Yeah. So I think I can answer that, Francisco. Basically, I had a conversation with her. You know, she's an ex whom we will work with. So definitely, um, she will be, if she can, first she will start with the data modeling side. Once is whatever existing Varun and Suhas is working on, maybe she can get some understanding of the business side and some bit of knowledge sharing from them. And after that, I think with the affiliates that you have planned her to work with. When we call affiliate, it is the country specific. What we when we say the word affiliate, it means here the countries, like specific countries. Northwest Europe is a bigger region, and there are specific countries under that. So, so right now, as we mentioned, CDP data modeling side you need to work on, and later over the time period, we will also migrate our dashboards from ClickSense to Power BI. So I know your primary skills are also Power BI, but we will not initially build dashboards. Initially, it's data modeling. Slowly, we'll move into that, and your experience can be leveraged from that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, and if I can also touch on that topic, because it's exactly as the Pragna mentioned. At the moment, we are building the foundation of our data into CDP, and what we need is to make sure that this modeling piece is done once and for all inside the Snowflake, so that when we go into Power BI, we need to do the less data processing and modeling as possible. So we want to avoid the fact where we have multiple projects or multiple Power BI projects, and every time we have to create, our own a new logic, a new pipeline, new modeling, and so forth. But having streamlined once and for all done centrally. And that is the work that we are doing now. So this, definitely, as Ragnar mentioned, I think that most of the work at the beginning will be on the modeling piece, but mainly into Snowflake. It doesn't mean that will have to have skills into Snowflake, but mainly, definitely SQL skills, and then work closely with the data engineers to help them basically model the data and process the data in the right way also for Power BI. So that we know that the tables and the data products that we deliver are ready for Power BI consumption. Once this is done, definitely there will be many projects on working with Power BI to actually leverage this data. And then I'm very confident that at that point, the development of dashboards will be very shorter because all the data transformation, the requirement has been already done at the beginning. So we will mainly work on the front end part, let's say, and not on the back end of Power BI.
Understood.
Yeah, so a lot of interactions, a lot of coordination, and also ensuring that the end product, when we build in dashboards in Power BI, we have the data in a perfect condition. So that's why we are starting it early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. I have nothing else. If you don't have any other questions for me, then I think I'm good from my side.
No, I'm clear from my side. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, friend, also for your time, and thank you.
Thank
Maybe
you.
we can discuss and we can let you know about it.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye bye.
Good day. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.